I've told both teams we'll go on 57, ready or not.
Okay.
Right, I'm over on RDL side, so I'm moving my way over now. I'm sure WiE will bring out the same list, so I'll just start talking about it. We had 3 Scat Cs, 1 Hewitt Prime, and a Siege Engine. That's the MK2... Which one is it, the E? I'm pretty sure it's the E.
That one does not have jump jets, does it?
It is
No.
the E, and it does not have jump jets. We are actually starting to get some mechs coming out of WiE now. Interesting setup. They've got 3 of the Shadow Cats with the PPC and Gauss rifle. Quite a good choice, not too many heat issues, and they can always just use the Gauss rifles if it does become too hot. And yeah, obviously the jump jet's an interesting feature on 0G as well. Also got a Hewitt for anti-air, which I don't believe we're going to be seeing any of. Are we, Mouse from RDL?
Well,
In
we'll
the
see.
words of Duncan Fisher, what the hell is that? They have a UCL.
Oh god.
Oh no.
Is it the SRM variant? That thing is not bad.
No, it is not. It looks like the poke variant with 2 light gas. They also have 1, 2, 3 awesomes, possibly also light gas. Yeah, looks like it.
Wow, so almost a little bit of a reverse from last match.
And 1 Hewitt. Probably the prime. Yeah, looks like the prime. RDL wants to go extreme long range.
We are going in 35 seconds.
Looks like WIE are also in for the range game. Just to avoid a little bit of confusion, guys, we've got 2 Brits on the channel, not just one. The other one is SJ Vahilio, coming along to just generally chat about the match and how things are going. But we do sound, according to other people, very alike, so I just thought I'd point that out. Yeah, I know, we don't sound anything like each other. He's a dirty southerner and I'm a dirty northerner, so... Or rather, awesome northerner, so... Most people can't tell the difference, so...
But yeah, it looks like I called it right when I guessed RDL will be using ballistics. Phenomenal number of light Gauss there by the looks of it.
Oh, and they're starting strong by stepping on their Hewitt. But
That's right.
All seems to be okay.
Well, WiE are moving out and they are splitting
They're stepping on
up.
it again. Twice. Oh, 3 times. Poor Hewitt.
Oh,
It
gosh.
is worth remembering that if you stand on one of those tanks, they lose all acceleration. It takes a long time to build it up, so it's very annoying when you're driving a tank.
It is a good way to get shot in the back by a rat.
Bit of a Hewitt skateboard then, by the looks of it.
It's not as bad as long Toms. We used to have our long Tom player furiously screaming at each other when we stepped on him going out for a match.
But yeah,
I don't know why.
coming back to things on the ground, WiE, they've actually gone and split their forces up. They've sent the 3 Scat Cs north, I believe that is, onto the hilltops, whilst the Hewitt and the Siege Engine move out to the west.
We are seeing some of that more interesting play from RDL that I was talking about. People doing unconventional things, or they've just moved up a hill and onto the kind of mountains surrounding the map. So it does look like it's going to be nothing like a conventional match here.
They are slowly lugging that poor Hewitt up there. It's not fast.
Does anyone
I'm surprised he has the acceleration to get up there.
Does anyone know if the sun rises from west to east on Extremity? Because I can't actually remember which side's on which.
I have no idea.
Well, anyway, WiE heavier assets moving towards the middle-ish, but keeping within range of their scats, which are perched on the ridgeline, moving forward slightly more towards the middle of the map.
I think we now can see why RDL want those 10 minutes. They seem to have set up camp on a hilltop to the side.
I think the sun does actually rise from the west, if I remember correctly, but yeah, I could be wrong.
Well, you know, it makes sense. It's how things are here.
Yeah, so why not the same on an asteroid millions of light years from Earth?
Where are RDL looking, by the way? Because at the moment they're looking looking the wrong way.
No, they're looking out to the center, towards the dishes.
That's really strange, because like 2 of them are looking the other way to me.
Yeah, you're a bit backwards in Britain.
Oh well. Must be the orientation thing just confusing the hell out of me.
You missed
Could be
a
their
comment about Britain, though.
Could be they're concerned about aero assets, and they're just trying to get a general 360-degree look around. But yeah, who knows?
Possibly. Right, WiE appear to have set up the camp. Okay, so
Now we know why they wanted those extra minutes.
tents are out, fires are lit. This is going to be a long match.
Shaping up to look rather like Red versus Blue, if anyone's seen that series.
I'm sure most people will have. Alright, so it's night time at the moment. So if there was any engagement, wouldn't have too many heat issues, but most of these mechs aren't fairly heat dependent anyway, so I don't think heat's going to be a problem for either side.
I think Six just overshot where he was intending to jump and slid down a real long slope.
That could mean movement, or just more camping, waiting for him to get in place.
Oh yeah, he's clambering back up, trying to get himself up into position as the sun comes up. Or the alarm goes off, rather, for the sun coming up.
Could see this precipitate some movement, with one side maybe feeling that they're favoured by the sunshine. However, my bet would be on a continuation of the camping situation.
I imagine at one point one of these horses will get bored and send a scout forward, but I mean, the fact of the matter is you have to take these things into account when you're making your list, you're making your strategies. You can't just expect the enemy to come blundering into this little perfect setup that you've made for yourself. You know, I mean, you've got to get out and get some intel. You've got to get out there and actually try and gain a situational advantage based on utilising the map for what it is. You can't, you know, racking up and sitting in a corner for an entire match and hoping that the enemy's just going to blunder into your gun sights. There's no way of playing the game, really.
We don't have an overabundance of actual scout units out here either, do we?
No, the Uzil Prime. Oh, no, that's a light gas one, so I don't know if that's got any sensors. I don't think it does.
No, it does not.
The scouts have BAP, but they're more than likely going to encounter things through visual than they are through radar.
Generally, when you see people using scats for scouting, it's not one scat. People just send a whole unit of them if they've got more than one. So that's a possibility, but both of these teams seem very keen on moving in large groups, so I shouldn't think we'll see any of that.
Okay, so let's try and evaluate these setups and how they're going to utilise the units that they've got at the moment. Okay, right, so WiE, they've spread their 3 scats out on top of these hills quite sufficiently. There's quite a lot of distance between each of them. Sick is actually advancing more towards Inner Sphere base at the moment, but no, hang on, no, he's coming back. He's taken a nice long path to climb back up the hill, so he's coming back, moving into position. But Phelan and Nathiel perched on these hilltops, just holding out. The Hewitt, Kaz, looking out over the dishes, keeping an eye on the horizon lines that are present and open to him. And Grimdealer appears to be watching the rear towards their own base. Maybe not the best placement for that asset. The ATMs and the UAC-5s, primarily long range. Those ATMs are going to need time to lock. He wants to be in a good position to intercept them as they're coming up, no matter where they come from. So he wants that max 750 range and to be able to see things before they get into it. But it doesn't matter now because they're moving out. They are moving towards IS base.
Have we seen any movement from RDL?
Not moving. No, they are standing still. They have spread out a bit to better cover the ridge, looking out over the dishes, but they are not moving.
Well, right now I'll say that Wolf in Exile is the sexier team.
Movement is sexy.
Yes, I do like the way they've spread things out a little bit more as well. It's just a little bit more interesting. Who knows if it's combat effective, but it looks a bit more professional.
Being spread is an effective way to do things. You need those range mechs not to all be bunched up, because if you get rushed by brawlers, then if you've got things a little bit further away, you've got time to pull more range, to utilise the advantage that those range weapons are giving you. I mean, if you're all sat in a clump and you get rushed by UAC-20s, it doesn't matter if you've been able to put a few shots on beforehand. If you can't drag the engagement out, you're going to lose. So to keep you guys...
by a long tom shell.
Well, that's right, you could get hit by a long tom shell on your way in and die in a horrible explosion. We've seen RDL do plenty of that.
Yeah.
Dying in explosions?
Well, no, inflicting that upon others, if the last round of the tournament is anything to go by.
Oh yeah, that is true. But it seems that none of these teams have a big reputation for fielding long toms.
RDL are a big fan of artillery, though. Those Arrow 4s are a staple of their game plan, especially in public games. I've seen many of pubber complain about RDL and their arrow obsession.
Yeah, they don't use those arrows too often in league-style games. I think they used one Arrow 4 setup against, was it DCK, I think, earlier in this tournament.
Yeah.
But I think that's about one of the few times I've seen them use them in league-style matches.
Yeah,
that's strange. You see them using it in the pub games, and you almost feel like they're practicing with the one scout out and their numerous arrow units. But I've never had them use it against us in an actual clan match.
Maybe they just like blowing up pubbers with large missiles.
Who could blame them?
Well, it's a little bit mean, but I guess whatever gets you kicks.
Well, Captain Camber also likes corners, so...
It's aggressive camping, Murph. Aggressive camping.
If it was aggressive camping, you'd fight for the camping spot.
Do we have any aggressive camping from Wolf in Exile?
We do, actually.
Definitely passively camping currently.
They are moving more around the map towards the IS bases. They may be aggressively camping the aero hangar within the next maybe 15 minutes if they keep going at the rate they're going at.
It's like watching a small group of nomads.
But they're playing it safe, and I can't blame them. They're down around. They want to get this one back. You know, it's 3 and out. Well, it's 3 and then win the other 2 for bragging rights or whatever. But they want this one in the bag so they can go into the next round confident at a 1-1 and try and pull things out of the. Well, out of a. You know, they don't want to be in a bad situation. So this victory is essential for them at this point. RDL, happy to play the camper game, happy to wait it out. They're quite comfortable with their 1-win lead at the moment. They've got no reason to rush on in there and play the aggressor. They're happy with where they're sat.
I wonder if either team has real-life time constraints. That could be a motivational factor to get this moving.
I was just wondering whether our Frapser has a big enough hard drive. But...
I've got about 800 gigabytes free. The last round took 48.5 gigs, so we should be fine in that regard.
Might have to tab out and do some mid-game deleting if things don't pick up.
Yeah, we have had people run out before, so it's a valid concern, but we should be alright.
Well, WiE are probably almost getting within weapon range now. That Hewitt slowly inching its way forwards. That engine on overdrive just poking up, and he could have visual any moment now. If he just looks up, checks those silhouettes, he's looking, he's seen them, and he's been hit.
RDL is open fire. They're Hewitt, and we have light cause fire as well.
That Hewitt is getting pounded. His rear armour must be hurting, because he exposed it for a long time.
Got the sun coming up now. That probably won't make a difference at this range when it's mostly UAC-2s and Gauss rifles being fired. It should not really change anything.
Don't say that.
Right, let's see how the Wolves react to this situation. Obviously, RDL have the advantageous position. They've got the range. WiE currently do not have engagement range on them. They're moving the scats out towards IS base, towards the airfield, trying to get those PPCs and Gauss into range. Just waiting on each other at the moment, just making sure they're going in as a group. The Siege Engine and the Hewitt holding back, covering their
The
rear.
RDL is pounding them. Or at least they're firing and can't see if they hit.
But yeah, the two support assets of the Wolves moving up at the moment obviously know that the scats have been spotted, so needing to get in and help their teammates out. Otherwise, this will all be for nothing, and we may see another RDL win.
Yeah, just going by the scoreboard, it doesn't look like WiE have actually done any damage yet. They're still at -1 points. RDL
sorry,
at
no.
40 now.
When I looked earlier, RDL had, I think it was -27 points from walking on their Hewitt. That does damage your leg armor and the Hewitt a little bit.
I see.
Am I right in thinking
Call it 67 points, really.
RDL extending a little bit at the moment, moving their forces more towards the centre line of the map. As WiE circle round, taking a nice long route around the back towards the map border with those scats.
RDL is basically positioning back to keep their range.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's almost like they're recreating the same thing they did in the last round of running from the enemy and keeping maximum range, except now they don't have awesomes, which is kind of unusual.
WiE Hewitt was opening fire then, but I don't think he's in range. He's shooting across most of the map. I do not believe that's 1200 metres. But he's definitely seen them, so the Wolves do know where RDL's going. However, they're not pulling those support assets up, and if they don't do that and end up fully engaged with the RDL forces, those support assets are going to be out of range and not able to help, which is going to mean it's going to be a 3-on-5, and that's 3 mediums against 3 assaults, a medium and a Hewitt. It's not terribly good odds.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if RDL have actually realised that they're not facing the whole of WiE's forces at the moment, because now would be a good time for them to rush if they could.
I don't think they want to rush, and I don't think they see any need to rush. As long as they can keep the range, they don't care if they fight 3 or 5 or even 10.
Well, wait a minute. If they don't want to hurry to engage, why are they named the Russian Death Legion?
It's not the rush in Death Legion.
Oh, I see.
WiE currently have a little bit of trouble traversing the rocks. Obviously the heat from the sun's giving them some issues using these jump jets. I see Phelan burning coolant off, trying to keep his mech cool. Obviously always a bit of a waste when you're just manoeuvring around, because that coolant could be better used to dissipate heat generated from weapon fire. But we have weapon fire coming from Wolves in Exile at the moment. PPC's unloaded and Gauss towards RDL
And
lines.
there's hit too, judging by the score.
Nathiel engaging on his own. Phelan moves up, unloads, moving down into a valley, trying to get a little bit cover from this rather overwhelming RDL fire.
Has anyone seen the Siege Engine lately?
Yeah,
Yep.
I was going to say, it's interesting. We've got WiE doing a full engagement. They're the ones rushing when they haven't got all of their assets. It's just not what I expected. Yeah, I got some of the commentators talking about that as well, some of the observers.
So yeah, WiE positioning themselves in the bowl of this valley. It's actually restricting RDL's ability to put consistent fire on them from all their assets. However, the Siege Engine and the Hewitt, they're out of this game for the time being. I don't think they're going to be able to get involved for at least 3 or 4 minutes, because RDL have done a good job of completely blocking line of sight to that siege engine. They
My score, Wolf and XL are catching up though.
Yeah, I'm actually also just looking for a way that siege engine and Hewitt are actually going to be able to get up on top of the hill from the direction they're coming in from. It doesn't look like there's any kind of easy, quick way up to where RDL are.
Well, RDL obviously have found a way up for those awesomes. It's just a case of that guy having enough map knowledge to know whereabouts they might have gone. I think he knows, and he's heading directly for it now.
Yeah, he is. He's going up exactly the same way RDL went up.
So, Grim Dealer is actually going to be in support range a little bit sooner than I thought. He is going to be able to unload some of those ATMs, those very nice, painful ATMs on the RDL line, and they have no lambs, which means that those ATMs are going to be doing full effect as long as they hit.
It's going to take them a little while to get into cover from that position with mechs like that as well. So
Looks like the Shadowcats are trying to retreat back and taking fire as they go.
Grim Dealer currently content to sit behind a hill and not help out. I'm not sure if this is part of their strategy, or if he's just a little unsure as to whether or not it's safe for him to poke his head up. But
I think it's a bold strategy and a smart strategy.
well, I would agree if RDL weren't engaging with those scats then, but they were pretty focused on those scats. They were pounding light gauss after light gauss shot, and the Hewitt was engaging as well. If he'd have popped up for a salvo or two, might have been able to do some free damage without taking any. But, you know, I mean, I don't blame them for playing safe.
I think it's the best possible tactical move they could be making at this point.
Yeah, I think Wolf needs to get up some damage on the hill. They will not damage RDL if they just get their weapons on them.
Yeah, we got a lost limb on one of the Shadowcats with WiE. It's the Gauss rifle.
6 lost his Gauss, and he's also taken light Gauss hits into that exposed torso section, which is going to screw him. Grim Dealer's hoped his head up, but there's no scats for the RDL to shoot at, so he was going to get... He got hit by pretty much most of the team then. Phelan jumping up, getting absolutely hounded by the fire there. That is the problem with jump jetting Extremity. The low grab just keeps you hanging there.
Oh my god. In the middle of them.
And there's a death as well, 6 down. The crit has killed Sig.
That torso must have been pretty much finished when the arm went off of it.
Yep, crit damage through that side torso, and I thought that looked painful. He wasn't reacting well to it, so obviously that left him with very little health at all. Grim Dealer's walked off the cliff, putting himself in a rather bad position down at the bottom of the bowl, and I don't think he can get out of there.
I saw something interesting there as well. We had missiles fly off in all directions in the way you usually get when a component's damaged, but I can't see anything missing from the MK2. Does anyone else know what that could have been?
I think he just dumb-fired actually. I think he fired before he had a lock. And
they usually travel straight though, at least, do they not? Oh, I see. So he has lost one of those ATMs.
Interesting. Well, their fuel's gone.
All that is left is Grim Dealer.
And a Hewitt.
Grim Dealer.
That is true, they still have the Hewitt.
Almost looks like he... let me just check him out. Almost looks like he isn't even playing anymore. I see no movement, his position isn't good.
I suspect there's quite a deal of communication going on between those two assets, which have now been kind of separated very neatly, actually. I can't really see it being very easy for them to meet up again at this point. So I imagine they're actually just talking and trying to work out what they're going to do here. But yeah, it certainly doesn't look good for them.
I'm surprised not to see some initiative from RDL here. I think they could afford to go up and finish that siege engine.
Yeah, certainly. They should be moving at this point just to finish this fight off. It's 5v2 and RDL haven't taken that much damage. I'd say they've pretty clearly got this one. So they can finish it fairly easily. RDL moving away. Obviously scared of a Hewitt and a assault mech, which might mean that they've taken a little bit more damage than we think.
There were some good hits coming in for a while there from those Shadowcats.
Oh, we see fire on the Hewitt.
There you go. It's
There we go.
I was going to say actually, it's sometimes something you see where you can't tell from spectator, but you get one team which doesn't look like they've taken any damage, whereas in fact they've got holes and CTs and left torsos and all kinds. So yeah, there you go, another one.
Yeah, there's another one. 2 RDL guys down.
And Chrism as well. So that may well be why they've been playing more cautiously. Is to us it doesn't look like there's damage, but they might well have holes all over.
Oh no, that's interesting. That leaves 2 assault mechs and a Hewitt. WIE aren't out of the game quite yet, but Grim is certainly stuck in the bottom of that bowl.
Looks like RDL are going to try and move in and finish him now as well.
It looks to me like Grim could just head directly towards RDL up that gully there.
He's done a full circle around the entire gully already. Don't believe he'd go back to his original position unless if he couldn't get out.
He's down.
RDL is moving.
But it doesn't
look like a
it,
smash and kill.
Yeah, it doesn't matter now anyway, because the pilot has been taken out of the mech, and the mech is going crit.
Another one.
There's been something about crits in this tournament, because we've seen plenty of them.
Yeah, it is interesting the way they can suddenly change the dynamics of the fight.
They can do, but if you keep yourself well spaced out, it's not too much of a problem. RDL had that Uziel far enough out of the way so that that crit wasn't an issue for them, because obviously one of the major issues for assault mechs is they can't get away when things go bad. So you've got to get your formation set up when you deploy them to make sure that any crits or any other issues aren't, like firebombs, artillery, isn't going to fuck up the entire group.
Now it's going to be interesting to see how they decide to deal with this one remaining Hewitt.
And I think they're going to be disappointed if they're expecting the Hewitt to come barreling over the hill at them. It does look like taking initiative again and moving out, which is only proper when you have 2 assault mechs and a tank against 1 tank.
Again, we do not know how damaged they are, but still that Hewitt should also be quite damaged.
Yeah, it did seem to take damage. Quite often you find the Hewitt gets completely ignored in combat, but I don't think this is one of those situations.
I don't recall seeing the RDL Hewitt take any fire. Did you guys see him get shot?
Not the RDL one, I don't think. I think the WIE one took quite a bit, though.
Yeah, at the beginning, but if that's on his backside, it's not going to be bothering him now.
This is true.
He's been hit front, rear, side a little bit. Just depends if they put any fire into that terror or not, because obviously he can just keep spinning if they have him.
This is going to be it. This is going to be it.
Yeah, the RDL Hewitt is... yeah.
There you go.
It's gone.
And there we go. Match 2 to RDL, which leaves the score at 2-0.